Okay, it looks like it's time to get started. I want to welcome you to this presentation. We're going to be talking about how to trade the weeklies for more income more often. And you should know who I am, but if you don't, my name is Peter Schultz. I am the president and founder of Cashflow Heaven Publishing, and I'm also the chief strategist and the editor of thewinningsecret.com. And thewinningsecret.com is a subscription service that is exclusively dedicated to selling credit spreads to bring in income. And um, there's probably no more fascinating way to trade in the markets. There's a lot of intricacies to that, and I think you really start getting into those intricacies when you start shortening down your time frame. So that's what we're going to be talking about right now in this presentation. Definitely, I want you to take some notes. This is going to be actually packed wall to wall with good usable information, strategies, and techniques. So let's get going. This webinar will cover 10 complete modules. It's almost like a complete educational package all in itself. And I'm going to go over what those 10 are right now so you can kind of be homing in on what you'd really like to learn and pay attention to. So we're going to get into real quickly what are weekly options? How do they differ from other options? How have they changed over the years since they've been introduced? We're going to talk about the best stocks, ETFs, and indices to sell weekly credit spreads against. This is really important. What vehicle you're selling against is super, super important. It makes a big difference. Number 3, we're going to talk about the great advantage of being able to pick your options expiration for safer, more profitable spread trading. This has been just a huge boon for us. I can't emphasize enough how much better things have gotten for options traders in the last few years. In the 4th module, we're going to be talking about selling weekly options using the Greeks, delta, theta, and gamma. A lot of people get this wrong. A lot of people kind of know what the Greeks are, but don't really understand them. I'm going to really simplify it down for you so you know what to look for and you know what to take advantage of. And number 5, our 5th module, is the right way to use volatility events for bigger credit spread premiums. A lot of credit spread traders really fear volatility. Actually, volatility is our friend. It's how we get paid. It's what time premium is based on. So if you embrace volatility the right way, it can be a fantastic way to make money. Number 6, our 6th module, how to use Bollinger Bands for bigger, safer premium collection. They can, along with our other tools, they can be a really nice tool. I'm going to show you how to use Bollinger Bands at a glance. You can put them on almost any charting program, plus a lot of the free programs, and you can really use them to your advantage. Number 7, our 7th module, is weekly credit spread defensive exits. When to hold them, when to fold them, and when to roll them. This is a huge, huge topic and subject for credit spread traders. Everybody wants to know what to do about your exit, when to just get out of a trade, and when to roll it and where to roll it. So we're going to talk about that. Module 8, how to make money selling credit spreads on Expiration Friday. It's all about selling time. Well, how do you go from selling a couple of months at a time to selling a month at a time to selling a week at a time to selling just a few hours of time? And does that really pay? And is it too dangerous? Or is it something we can actually do? So we're going to take a look at that in Module 8. Module number 9 is calculating return, how to use the weeklies to radically increase your credit spread returns. You're going to like this. I mean, it's all fun learning how to do it, but what's really fun is seeing how much you can make. And in that same vein, we're going to jump over to Module 10, how much can you make selling weekly credit spreads and what are your odds of winning? When I say how much you can make, in Module number 9, we're going to go into some of the theoretical returns, which are kind of fun to see how the math works out. But in module number 10, we're going to take a look at what's realistic. What can you really do? What have we been doing? A lot of people think, credit spreads, I don't like them. I can't make very much money. I'd rather trade directionally. You can make a lot of money trading credit spreads, and you can do so in a very short period of time. Most people don't understand that. And we're going to go into that in detail in module 10. So let's get started. I'm going to try and get you in and out fairly quickly with some great information. So let's get going. So module 1, what are weekly options and how have they changed since being introduced? Now, weeklies are a new class of option. I got this right off of the CBOE website. You can go there and they've got a whole options website. You can read all about them. So this is off their site. I think this is really interesting. In 2005, 32 years after introducing the call option. So this is an interesting fact right here. You know, the options exchange was formed in 1973 as an offshoot of the Chicago Board of Trade. And all they had at first was call options. They didn't have anything, such a thing as put options. It took them a few years. I don't think they introduced put options until 1977. Isn't that crazy? All the stuff that we take for granted is actually relatively new in a lot of our lifetimes. I can remember that time period really well. So the CBA in 2005, the CBOE began a pilot program with weeklies options. They behave like monthly options in every respect, except that they only exist for 8 days. They're introduced each Thursday and they expire 8 days later on Friday with adjustments for holidays. Investors who have historically enjoyed 12 monthly expirations, the third Friday of each month, can now enjoy 52 expirations per year. So this was the program when they were first introduced back in 2005. And that was in fact the program until 2012. Well, let's see what's changed. Let's see what's improved. On Thursday, May 31st, 2012, the CBOE began extending the listings of SPX weeklies and maintaining 5 consecutive expiration weeks available for trading options on the S&P 500. So what that means is instead of the option being created on a Thursday and expiring the following Friday, now you can actually go to your options chains and you can see where there's, on the SPX, there's an option expiring every Friday. And that's really exciting because you might not want to sell on a Thursday or a Friday prior to the next Friday's expiration. Maybe you want to sell a week and a half at a time. Maybe you want to sell 2 weeks at a time. What this new improvement has done is it gives us pretty much a Friday we can sell into every Friday. Now what's really exciting is since May 31, 2012, they've actually extended these weekly options where there's a string of 4 or 5 expirations going out in front of an option or an underline to many, many different of the most highly, the greatest volume underlines. So let's just take a look at what they might be. So they started off with the SPX. Now there are many indices and some stocks that have expirations every week, and this is the most popular, the most highly traded. They now include the SPX, the OEX, the XEO, the S&P 100 Euro style, and that's the XEO. That's something you may not know about. With European style options, you can't be exercised before expiration. So it's kind of cool. You can be in the money a little bit and you don't have to worry about an early expiration. If you think it's going to be back out of the money by the time expiration rolls around, you might want to hang on to it. It's kind of a cool deal. We've got the RUT, which is the Russell 2000, the GLD, the gold ETF, the GDX, that's the gold miners ETF, the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 100, the SLV, which is the silver ETF, and the XLF, which is the financial ETF, and that's just to name a few. There's others. You'll also find Apple on that list, oftentimes along with Amazon. BAC is Bank of America, Baidu, the Chinese internet company, and others. So here's a website for you to go to, and I've got it down here, and you can actually search for this on the net if you want, if you don't want to write this whole thing down. But it's the cboe.com site, and it's weeklies and available weeklies. And you can see a full listing. And I've actually got a screenshot here of what it looks like. Now, what you're going to want to look at is any underline. So, for example, this is the OEX. That's the S&P 100 index. You'll see X's going all the way across here. That means that there is an expiration every Friday. You go down here, the XEO. That's the European style NASDAQ or S&P 100. You'll find expirations all the way across. I've got the S&P 500 highlighted here. It's probably the most popular one to trade. And you'll see the DJX here. That's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. You'll see there's a couple Fridays missing. You know, on another cycle, maybe in a few months, you'll see X's all the way across here. So they change. Here on the NDX, the NASDAQ 100, you don't have X's all the way across. You have some blank squares here. Those blanks are where there is no expiration on that Friday. But you drop down here to the RUT, the Russell 2000, and you've got them all the way across. So just go to this website and take a look, and all of a sudden, you know, we have this really nice variety of underlines that we can trade that have expirations every Friday. It gives us an unprecedented amount of flexibility on what we can sell. And I'm gonna go into one complete module about why that's so important and how it's important, having these different expirations to sell and what that means to us. You know, for those of you that have been trading options for a long time, you remember back in the day when there were no weeklies, the bid-ask spreads were absolutely huge. The commissions were huge. It is a wonder anybody ever made money trading options. And I just have to say, with no hesitation, that it's a better time to trade options right now than at any other time in history. A lot of people complain about, you know, market makers and this and that. If you've noticed, the bid-ask spreads have gotten more and more narrow. The commissions have come down as the intensity of competition between brokers heats up. And now with these weeklies, we've got all these incredible expirations we can sell. It's not just a better time to be an options trader, but in particular, there's never been a better time to be a credit spread trader. And that's what we are. This is what this strategy is dedicated to. And I think by the end of this webinar, you're going to be pretty darn excited about trading credit spreads. So the weeklies change every week, but fortunately you can select to receive, this is a really cool feature, you can select to receive automatic emails from the CBOE when the new ones are made available to the public. So here's just an example. What you have to do is you got to set up a little account with the CBOE. That's just a matter of entering your name and email address. It's absolutely free. And then you log in and you see all these choices up at the top. You see my profile, my email alerts, circulars and rule filing, special partners office offers. You click on my email alerts. Here's my day inbound here, and then you go down under these general information and you select whatever it is you want. You just put a check mark in the box. If you want to be emailed every week when the new weeklies are released, you can do that. It's an absolutely free, no cost benefit to becoming a member of the CBOE website. So very much encourage you to do that. So out of this new great selection, what are the best weeklies to trade? And that's the subject of our next module, where we're going to take a look at the best stocks, ETFs, and indices to sell weekly spreads against. And we're going to show you exactly what we look for, why it's so important to have these criteria going for you. And we're going to take a look at that in our next module, and that's module 2.